1, 2, 3, 4. OK, good. Infraworks, it's a graphic 3D design platform, OK? Not only for design, but also for communication. Because we need something that is very easy to use and where we have the possibility to explain our idea, OK? With Infraworks, we can do a lot of things. One are the possibility to work in the real context of our design site. We have the possibility to create and visualize the assessment of our design. And much more important that we have the possibility to create multiple proposals of our design. What I mean? I mean that exactly the first, when we start with to design, we need to understand where we are and which data do you have. Always in an engineering phase, we start with the data that maybe is the survey, maybe they are GIS data or other format. With Infraworks, we have the possibility to load many types of format, like EFD, CAD, raster, len, XML, and a quantity of data that you can see on the picture, shapefile, because it's a standard. And from this data, we have the possibility to build our context, like the picture and the video that you can see on the right side of the screen. Then we have the possibility, again, to load multiple sources of data. I think that many of you starting to think, OK, you are speaking about data, but normally we have no 3D data. This is an issue. So inside Infraworks, we have a good tools that it is called the Model Builder that can us to create the site. What I mean? I mean that we have the possibility to ask a sort of query from the server, like this. And I put the address of the hotel here. I can define where is my site. I can switch from one visualization to another visualization, like Google Maps. And I can set the name of this model. And then I can click on the model and to say, OK, please, create the model. At the end of the elaboration, you received an email. And when you click to open the model, you have this one for free. OK? How is the source of this data? The sources are different. We can manage terrain, raster, and vector data. The source of the terrain are different depending on the region of you are working. Maybe that the precision are really different. Maybe one point in 90 meters, that is not enough sometimes. But we are speaking about conceptual design. That maybe that it's OK. Maybe if you work in the US, you have 1 point in 10 meters. It's better. Or other raster data for the Northeast area. The raster that you can see here, it's a Bing data. And the vector data are the OpenStreetMap, because it's OpenStreetMap data, like a road, like a building, like a street, exactly the same that you can see now inside the video. When we create a model, the model are georeferencing, are exactly in the position where need to where. And then we can manage very easily with this tab, the managing the data, the position of the sun, the position of the sky, the cloud cover, and then we have the possibility again to give the idea of our customer how easy and what happens when my building are here or where my building is in another position of my model. Inside Infraworks, again, we have the possibility with the integration of point cloud. Point cloud, you know that it's a common survey technology, and then we need the possibility to add inside the model. The model the survey of point cloud can be outside, but can be also inside, because there is no limits about this. And then we can obtain this type of representation. And if you think that we can cover point cloud with the shape data, with the raster, with the other feature that I will show you in the next slide, it's very interesting because we have really the possibility to understand how is our context. Inside Infraworks, we have several tools, like any other software. We can divide it from basic tools and from specific tools that I'm sure that my colleague Mohamed will show you in the next section. The basic tools are the possibility, we give us the possibility to build basic elements, like a building, like a tree, like, I don't know, 3D model that can represent anything in our site. And we have the possibility to add more and more style about some different object, like a street or like a railway. Let me show how it's possible to create a basic model from nothing, okay? The basic model is the model that I've created with the model builder. Now I can start to add a very easy object, a car, inside my street. Then I can start to add, like this, a city furniture. Then I can add light lamp like this. Or I can change in the other side with another one, because I want to explain and to show what happens if I choose one or another. How do you can see it's very easy, and there is no complex manipulation, because it's like to draw a sort of polyline, like CAD. Then I can add vegetation, and I have a sort of library, and the library is possible to add with your custom object. And each object that I can create, like an area or like a row, it's possible to change point by point. Then we have the possibility to define which element do you want. Then I have the possibility to change a tree, like a palma or like, I don't know, another type of trees, like this. And then look, in less 1 minute, how is your model, to explain where you are and what is the context of your model. And you have inside Infraworld the possibility to add this type of element that is a point of interest, like to understand where you are. And also you can also have the possibility to manage the street. The street doesn't exist really. It's a sort of style. Then it's a representation of material and dimension of this material. And it's possible to change by this palette that is a library. And inside this library we can use the basic element that we already have, or we have the possibility to change. We also have the possibility to change like a tunnel, and the result is here, like this, very easy. I can drag and drop the element, inside the object, and switch from another to one street to another. Really easy, and in less than 2 minutes, you have this type of representation. But maybe that you are building specialist. Then I think that it's more important to understand what means if you want to create a new site. We have elements to create this type of site, like this. The element is a coverage area. The coverage area means that we can assign, okay, the elevation, the style, and not only the style, but the rules that manage intersection from your floor, the elevation of your floor, and the intersection with the terrain, like this. Okay? Then we can define different type of material from one material if you are in fill, or another material if you are in cut situation. And then you can have a sort of query, very fast, to understand how square meter do you have, how metric cubic do you have in this case, to understand how is the volume of the terrain that you put from your site and go outside. You can sketch a building like this. Okay, it's very basic. It's not, maybe that is not your building, but only to understand can be the position in the next future. And you can also add more objects that are the context of your building. Then you can add a sort of weight area like this. Or it's possible to manage, again, the mobility, okay? Where is the street that can allow me to go inside the building? And again, you can see and you can change the style for this object. And also, we can also add a tree in this area, like this. Very easy and very fast. The result is very similar to the previous one. You can change the density if you want. And also, you can add maybe some object upper your site to understand what happened. Only to finish your context, like this. I want to see a person, to give maybe the proportional of how is big your building. You can understand like this. But the main question is, okay, this is a sketching. Can I use Revit file? Yes, we can. It's possible to switch inside Revit and to create many purposes, many proposals of our design. This is the first one. This is a Revit model. Then you can switch from one to another. And then you can explain to our customer what means your first idea, your second, and the other one. Then I switch from one to another, and maybe that is a new site. And it's very easy. You didn't do anything of conversion of data. You load directly a Revit file, and this is the result inside your context that maybe you have created by your own data, or maybe that you have created by, look, how it's possible to change the cover or the position of the sun, and then it's possible to create the model. Very easy, very fast, and very, very interesting. Much more data and much more details do you have, much more you have the possibility to explain the model like this. This is a point of view inside the Revit model that it's seeing outside the building, and you are in the place are this one, and the building are this one. More details do you have? Maybe that more and more it's interesting for the customer to see what do you mean. One of the important things about BIM is the sharing data, the sharing information. And with InfraWorks, we have the possibility to share also our model. Then we have the possibility to take the model that we already see and to share without anything. It's possible to do with creating a scenario. Scenario is like a portion of your model, and to publish on the cloud. Then you have the possibility to see in the browser without any installation, without no installation of InfraWorks, but like only an address in your browser. And you have the possibility without installing any plugin. What I mean? I mean that we have possibility to push the model on the cloud and to share. Okay, this is my region. Okay, it's a region basic or with my new site. Not very well, but okay. I'm not specialist for building. I share for the zone that I'm interested. These panel are in Italian because my browser is in Italian, but means push and on the cloud. And this is the result. Look, I'm working on the browser, no application about this, and then I have possibility to see what happened in any type of zone of my model. This is a bookmark. It's like a bookmark. It's a presetting of where you want to see in the model. And then with this panel, it's possible, look, to see and to move on the model. Then maybe that you can share this model with another people to explain and to discuss about it's okay, it's not okay, we need to change this, we need to add maybe the tree, or we need to add what do you want. About the scenario is like a sort of a focus on this area. And in this area, we have the possibility, again, to share a feed of design, like a chat, okay? And we need the possibility to switch on and switch off ground, building, and city furniture. Again, without any installation and any installation of plugin, okay? It's like only an address in the cloud. InfraWorks, we have the possibility to try InfraWorks, okay? There is a web page dedicated like all the Autodesk software. There is no Turkish language, the language are this one, okay? And this is in the website page, there are a lot of information, there are a lot of video, and I would like also to inform that there are this one, it's the recorded webcast of the team that developed InfraWorks, where you find a lot of video, where a lot of future, where we can understand in deep how it's possible to do something. Then we are in the second step, detailing design. Detailing design means that we need to create more precise model, and we need to create the documentation, okay? The player inside the IC collection are again InfraWorks, Civil 3D, Map 3D, again raster design and vehicle tracking. Now I will just show you how it's possible to work with the Civil 3D for building specialists. Civil 3D is a generic platform, it's for civil engineer, and it's possible to manage infrastructure design, like a railway, like a highway, okay? But inside the Civil 3D, we have the possibility to manage some focus point for your markets, like the possibility to manage modelization of the surface, the excavation model, calculation of the volumes to understand how is the cost to put the volume outside, and to manage network pipe for drainage system. Inside the Civil 3D, we have the possibility to create a surface from starting of many AutoCAD or many data sourcing. In this case, I can set that it's a 3D polyline. Then we need the 2D and the elevation. And we need, normally we work from this palette. It's a tool space. It's like a tree of objects. It's like a Revit, where we need to manage all the objects that we can create. In this case, I started to create the existing ground in a sort of empty box. And after, I can select the element that can manage and can create my surface. Inside Civil 3D, we can manage the element by style. The style are a sort of dress that I can change. Then it's a sort of presetting. Sometimes I would like to see the contour. Sometimes I would like to see the triangle. Sometimes I want to see contour and triangle. This is a style. And normally, we have a possibility to define a lot of style. Then your production to manage is very fast because you don't need to change everything when you want to change. But going about building. OK, this is my special Revit model, very easy, OK? And I would like to understand how it's possible to manage the excavation of this model, OK? Here, you can see my model. It's very easy, one basic section, and it's OK, it's flat. Consider that we need time also to explain. And I would like to understand how it's possible to create the excavation here, OK? Then I take this model, and I put the model inside the Civil 3D. We can do in several different formats. Maybe the basic is DWG. Then here we have inside Civil 3D. The first one always is to create the ground, because I need to understand how is the basic elevation. Then in this case, I use only 4 points. Then maybe that if you start and you have no data, you can define first 4 points, or maybe some point with elevation. Then I can create surface by this point that are the elevation. And then if I see what happened, I am in this condition. OK? Like this. Then I want to create the excavation model for this type of special building. The second step is to define the element of Civil 3D that can allow me to manage the excavation. This type of element is the future line. The future line is a sort of 3D polyline, OK, that Civil 3D manage with different style, and we can manage from several activities. Like I have switch off all the element that I don't want to use. Then I also have the structure for the foundation. I can start to drawing a polyline, and then I switch to convert this element. Before to make this, I do a sort of offset, because I want to have the safety space to work with the worker, or because I need to move the machine in my excavation. Then here, I can start with the future line. And I'm starting from converting a 3D polyline. Then I can select OK. This is a site. It's a special part of Civil 3D tool space. But the basic is the name, and again, the style. The style is how is the color that I want to see inside this building, inside this one. And again, the elevation. I can start to assign the elevation, or I can manage after to change the elevation, OK? Then, OK, this is my future line, and then I can switch again with all the elements. I can select and check that the elevation are OK. Like this, it's a select, edit. It's a panorama view, like this one, where you can see the land and the elevation, OK? Because it's important that your polyline is not flat on 0, but it's exactly in the elevation that you need. After, switch off to see all. I'm starting to create a new object of Civil 3D that is a grading. A grading is the shape of excavation, OK? Again, we have a different window where you need to set the name and the style. The style is the volume. I can select which surface I need to create the interaction, and then I can select the criteria. What is the criteria? The criteria is how is the criteria that do you want to excavate or to fill? it's a slope, it's a distance with the slope, it's a distance with delta h, or anything. Then I can select with the slope. The slope is 1.1, like slope and not grade. And I can select immediately outside my boundary. And if you look here, the model is not OK. Why? Because the excavation is so big, then I have not the interaction with the terrain. Then I need to change immediately, OK? The model that we are creating in Civil 3D are dynamic model. Then we need not to switch. And if you look here, we have immediately updated the model. Then we have, OK, our excavation in the boundary of my building, of my structure. And then we have this model of excavation, OK? And then it's very easy to create, because if you think you are, I drawing the polyline, I converted in future line, and then I starting to create excavation. Then I am in this situation, and I'm starting to create volume calculation, OK? In this video, I have also changed one side, because the excavation can be different from side to side. We can also have transition from one elevation to another elevation, OK? This type of excavation is very easy, to be honest, but we can manage many complex shape about this. Here, I'm starting to create the surface that I need to understand how is the volume for my excavation. Then I can start to set the name. And if you look here, the surface that I already created, it's overlap of the previous one. It's like this one, OK? Why? Because for calculating, we need a thin surface. Then the thin surface allows me to manage the calculation. Then I can start to manage the name of the calculation, and then I need to set how is the basic surface for the calculation, how is the design surface. Then the basic calculation is the existing ground, and the second one, the comparison for the surface, is the volume surface. Then I click on OK, and in my row, I have immediately the volume of the calculation with the difference from cut and fill situation. In this case, we are only cut situation. These models are dynamic. Then if you change something, immediately you have the update of the model and the calculation of the element. This element is the calculation of Civil 3D. It's like calculation, OK? It's not for managing the design. And then I have the possibility to change also the elevation of the basic of my foundation. Maybe that you change something in your Revit model, OK? You can change the shape, you can change the structure, but maybe that you need to change the elevation. If I change the elevation, the model are already updated because it's dynamic. And if you look here on the surface, we have a question mark, yellow question mark. That means, look, your model is not updated. Then please click on update. I go on the dashboard of volume, and then I can click in this bottom, update, and I have immediately the update of my model. OK? We can also manage the surface, because sometimes we need to change something. And we can also start for the surface. What I mean when I starting to see managing the surface, I want to create the final surface, the surface that it's the terrain with the whole of my excavation shape. Then I need to create also a new surface, like an empty box. And inside this empty box, I can add existing ground and excavation surface. And you can find this type of operation, like a past, like a windows. It's past surface. Which surface do you want for first? Existing ground. Do you want, again, for the next one? It's paste surface. It's volume. Click on OK. The new one is this. I can select, and I can see immediately in the viewer, like this one. This is the final surface. It's very easy, OK? It's to pass off surface and to go in deep. Why I have created this type of surface? Because I would like to put this surface and go inside Navisworks, because I want to work with the workflow and not only inside Civil 3D. Then I can export, like DWG, my surface, like this one, and go inside Naviswork, like a CAD, to add always my excavation and my Revit file, like this. This is a Revit model, OK? And I can start to go on the Home tab, Appends, and then I take my excavation to understand what happened. Maybe for safety, like this one, OK? And then I can manage and to start here, I don't know, for creating 4D or 5D, or creating timeliner inside my model. Then, like this, it's a shape and a section. Remember, please, that from Civil 3D, we also can manage an exportation in EFC file. This is a standard file for OpenBeam. There is a tab that where it's possible to export, and we also use this one maybe for Naviswork, or we share with other people that they don't have this type of solution. AutoCAD Civil 3D also can ask to work with the drainage system, like building system, viability, parking, and for the Naviswork. If I starting from this model, I would like to understand how is the sewage system from the building to the street, or from the building to the site where there is a drainage system. Then I can start from the exportation from Revit model or from Naviswork model to go inside the Civil 3D and to start to create pipe and to create the structure for my system. Then the first one, again, this is the exportation, okay, like this. It's a DWG, easy for us. Then I can start to create, again, surface, because the surface is the first step. Then, in this case, we have triangle, and then we can manage the triangulation like a new surface. And then the first step is, OK, please create a new surface, create surface, name, style, and which object do you want to add to the model. Then in the drawing object, like this, look, we have a possibility to have point, triangle. I can select all, because that means that you can only use the triangle. And if you see, in the model, you have the final situation of existing ground starting by triangle. This is the end from the building, and I would like to convert this line, sorry, is black, and this red line, that is the path of my sewage system. Then I can convert, I would like to convert this polyline, that is flat, because it's an AutoCAD polyline, in a sewage system. Again, I would like to start from a future line, because a future line is one Civil 3D object that allows me to convert in other object. Then the first step is take the CAD line, convert to the future line. In the conversion, I need to set the elevation. I already told you that it's flat, but for the sewage system, it's not good that the slope is flat. Then in this window, I need to switch with 1% of slope for my sewage system dynamically, and then my alignment is a little bit slope from starting point to the end point. Now, one click and to convert the element. I can convert the element from the structure to define the structure and to define the diameters of the pipe. And then when I convert, I can select which point of pipe I want to use for the reference of my grading, of my future line. It's above, or it's on top, or it's the center of the pipe. When I see this one, the result is this one. I immediately have the representation of my sewage system, where we have a pipe with 1% of slope, and where we have a structure. Again, we have the possibility also to manage dynamically any change inside this type of model. Because we can change slope, we can change representation, we can change diameters, and that's it. The editing of pipe is easy, because I can several tools to manage it. I can start from the beginning, like this one. And I would like to make the representation of the entire alignment of the sewage inside one profile, because I would like to see all the system to understand how is the elevation, like this one. How is the elevation, how is the slope. After this one, I can set for each pipe which type of modification I can do. I can select to switch from 500 to 600. Immediately I have the representation and the change of my pipe. And then I can also switch like this one. I can take my pipe manually, and I put and change the dimension and the configuration of my pipe. One of the important things about this workflow is that georeferencing. We are starting from GIS data. We are starting from InfraWorks. You know that in the last version of Revit, we have the possibility to manage very easy the georeferencing tool. And we have the possibility to load the coordination of one DWG as a reference inside Revit, like this one. I can select the reference. I can move and rotate in the exact position, and then I change immediately to acquire the coordinate of the source of DWG. Vehicle tracking, the last one. Vehicle tracking is a tool for analysis and design different parts of transportation system. I have the possibility to work with evaluating vehicle movement, to create parking and a roundabout. Inside vehicle tracking, we have a lot of vehicle, sometimes, and also special vehicle like a tram, rail, or in the aircraft, like aircraft for designing the airport site. And we have the possibility also to manage a custom vehicle. Again, we have the possibility to work with a building model with vehicle tracking. In this case, we have 3 different floors, and I would like to create the first one, the surface, but not starting from a traditional survey, by starting like a model that maybe arrived from Revit. Then I'm starting to create again the surface. From the surface, I need to tell to Civil 3D which object I would like to work. In this case, I selected my floor, like this one, and then this is not only a floor like DWG, but it's a floor like a surface for Civil 3D, because it's the base on top I would like to move my vehicle. Sometimes it's difficult because you need to manage, like this one, this type of representation, because you have the ramp to go from one floor to another floor. And then if you click only the surface from the ramp, is wrong because you have not the right triangulation. Then sometimes you need to select with more details the element that you need to create the surface. That I can start from the floor, but after I need to add like a polyline that is the boundary of the ramp, and then I can check and select like this one. And the result is, you can see in 1 minute, less, okay? It's like similar, but now if I go inside Civil 3D and add again the surface of the ramp, we have this one. Like this. This is the situation that I want because I need to understand where I can move my vehicle. The second one is the possibility to create the sweet path. What I mean the sweet path? I want to understand if one vehicle are able to move in this floor without any conflict, with enough space to understand if there is safety, or if 2 vehicles are the same space to move together. Then I go in the plan. I can select on the library which vehicle I would like to use, and then I can up on top of the surface that I already created in the previous one. Then I can move my vehicle, like this one, very easy, on top on the ramp. And if I go on 3D, you can obtain this type of situation. Okay? You have the simulation of the path of your vehicle, and then you can switch from 2D model to 3D model. And you can move and define which is the point of view. You can define the position of the model, and obviously you can move your vehicle to understand which is the real path of this movement, like this one, to understand what happen if your vehicle move like this one. One important thing about this type of element is to understand that we can also manage conflict. If the space from the body of your car and the body of the floor is not enough, you have this type of representation that means that, look, you have not enough space, please check. Means that maybe that your ramp, maybe to change the slope, or maybe that you need to understand what happens if your vehicle moves inside on top of this representation. You can also manage this type of simulation not only for the parking or for outside the building, but inside the building, because we can also create our custom vehicle like this. This is inside one hospital site, and I would like to understand how is the space to move the bed. Sometimes it can be easy, but sometimes not. Maybe if in an emergency room, you need to understand how is the space that for moving your bed, and then you can create, like this one, a sort of representation, a sort of path to understand what happens if you move very fast inside this one, like this. In the emergency room, the guy of time tell me that it's time to hurry. Give me 3 minutes, please. Okay, like this one. Look. And I can understand and to create a simulation with the push up, down for this type of simulation. Then sometimes it's very interesting to understand what happened with the space. We can also managing the parking, like this one. The parking is, we can also have standard of parking. Then we can start to drawing a sort of polyline, but it's not a polyline. It's a row of parking. It's a configuration of parking. We can manage and to go very fast like this one. And it's possible to manage with the OSNAP AutoCAD the real position of the element. Then we can move from one to another, and we can switch from one element to another element. But the real interesting thing is that then we can change the configuration very easily, like this one, because I need to change particular parking for disabled, like this one. Then I can select the configuration. I can pick change, 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 change. I have a new configuration like this. I not to delete and to create. And I have also the count of this type of element. And I can also change this row by clicking on a new configuration and please change the configuration on this parking, like this one. Very easy. It's not an AutoCAD drawing. If you think that you take this one in AutoCAD, it's some pain sometimes to do this one. Optimization and coordination is the last part of my presentation. It's very fast. When you are speaking about optimization, we need to understand and to create real-time decision making and the possibility to have producing a realistic model, okay, to show again to our customer. And for, again, the player are Infraworld and Civil 3D. And for coordination, you know that the player are Navisworks. We can to understand how is the process for the construction, okay? We can the possibility to have the clash detection. Inside the Infraworks, I go very fast because I'm sure that my colleague Mohamed will show you in the next presentation. We also have the possibility to have GIS analysis, visibility check, or we also have the possibility to have the traffic simulation, like in the left of the screen, where we can understand what happens if you change from one roundabout with some dimension, from one intersection, or we change again in other roundabout. Because it's very easy. Consider that the element that you have, we can arrive from the model builder, and the site arriving from the Revit file. And then we can create this type of simulation. And I think that if you show to the customer this type of representation, it's easy to understand what happened with the traffic. And again, we also have the flooding analysis in the right screen, where we have the possibility to manage this type of representation. With Infraworks, we can, starting from Infraworks, we can also go directly inside Navisworks, again, for manage different purposes. I can switch and select my zone that I would like to export, like this one, and then I can start, I can define which zone do you want to export. I can define that the export is FBX files. Maybe that the FBX is one, or maybe it's one for building, one for the ground, one for other element, and then I can click on export. Come on, name, of course. And you have the same model inside the Infraworks, where we can start to add maybe your Revit model, again, to understand what happened, okay? The result is this one, like this. Time. We can also start from Civil 3D to go again in Naviswork. Why? Because I would like to understand what happened to manage your site construction. Because I would like to manage and to have different proposals for site construction. Then I can select my model from Civil 3D. I can put inside InfraWorks. In this case, it's not referenced. It's completely invented by me. I can select where I would like to the right position of my model, like this. Then I need to add the context of my site. Then I can go very fast to understand what happened, like this one. I can add some crane, like this. I can add maybe the sand to understand how is, okay, to give more realistic things to my site. And then I can create like a box, typical box of the, of the site, and then I can move at the end, like this one with another crane, and then I can select the crane and move like this, and I have a new site. Then I can select and create more and more proposal to create the site. Summary, I have finished, really. Why to use 3 different types of platform? InfraWorks, because it's beautiful. No, I'm joking. Because it's a multi-geodata collector, we have the possibility to manage a lot of quantity of data, JS data, open data, again. Because we have the possibility to design in context, maybe that you have really to understand what happened when you define where is your building, or you define where is your street. And it's a very fast and effective in presentation. I'm sure that it's easy to understand. Civil 3D, maybe that is more technical for excavation and for pipe network. And vehicle tracking, like a support for path analysis outside and inside the building, and maybe the path analysis for site construction and parking. Thank you. I'm finished.